Welcome to the Zero to Hoodie Cybersecurity webinar. I am your host and guide, BowTiedCyber, otherwise known as Evan Lutz. You can find me on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/in/cyber-evan, and you can see my social medias everywhere, TikTok, X, and on LinkedIn as an organization at BowTiedCyber. Today, we're here to do one thing and one thing only, and that is to help you know if a cybersecurity career is right for you. So let's dive into it. Now, in this session, we're going to go ahead and dive into an entire wealth of topics to help you uncover your potential and answer critical questions to determine if this is ultimately the kind of life that you want to get into. So, we're going to start with some numbers and then get into the ins and outs of the cybersecurity industry. And then we'll end with some more numbers and some ways that you could consider making this happen for you. But before we get started, I want to start with a story. And this is the personal story of how cybersecurity changed my life. So, when I was 19, I got married and we put all of the stuff that we had, enough furniture that we'd accumulated over a year to fill out a 4-bedroom house. And we put it in a truck with a U-Haul in East Bay Area, California. And we headed south and we were going to West Texas where we were going to start a life with her family. And halfway down the state of California, in the city of Lost Hills, we gassed up and then we're getting back onto the interstate. And all of a sudden, I heard a snap and vroom, and the transmission was a wet noodle. We took it to a mechanic there, and he said that the transmission was completely shot. And that was going to be $1,500 to fix it. And we had a choice to make. Either we could spend our last $1,500 and fix the truck, and if it broke down, we'd have no truck and no money, or we could leave the truck and everything there and pack what we could into a 2002 Chevy Cavalier and keep on going. And that is exactly what we did. And the entire time that we were together, it was a constant financial struggle. We got pregnant shortly thereafter with my oldest son, and then shortly after that with my youngest son. And this was a look into our first apartment, our tiny little 500 square foot 1-bedroom apartment in Odessa, Texas, that had furniture from garage sales and donations and everything else that we could get our hands on because we were constantly struggling. So when I come to you with my story and everything that I'm about to tell you, it's not coming from a place of privilege from somebody who's never had to go through their own struggles. I'm coming to you from the position of somebody who used to make $15 an hour supporting an entire family with a mattress on the floor because that was all that I could afford and that was the best that I could do for my family at that time. If I had known that cybersecurity was going to be an opportunity when I was struggling and I had 20 cents in my bank account every payday, I wouldn't have struggled. But I can't go back and change what happened to me. The best I can do is give you the information that I have to help you avoid making the same mistakes that I did. So this was in West Texas. Uh, Fast forward a couple of years and 2 kids later, and we moved up north to go to Texas Tech because I thought that was going to be the ticket for me to get out of living in this hell cycle of poverty. And it turns out it only made things worse because I got a degree in math instead of a degree in engineering. And it turns out when you get a degree in math, nobody actually wants to hire you because you don't actually know anything. This is the lie of colleges, that it's going to change your life and actually give you an opportunity at a job. The only thing that happened when I came out of my bachelor's degree was I was 100,000 plus in non-bankruptable student loan debt. And this was now my cross to bear because of the poor decisions that I made. But I always kept pursuing the next thing because these boys did and still mean the entire world to me and more. I did everything that I could to save money. I roasted my own coffee. I made my own sourdough bread, or tried to. Ended up being more of a weapon of war than an edible product. Made cheap crafts with the kids. Everything that we could to pinch pennies. If you've been in this situation, you know what it's like to live exclusively on the Walmart brand items, right? Became a high school math teacher because I couldn't get a job with said degree. Put on a whole bunch of weight due to stress and over drinking because I had to compensate with it somehow. Um, and I fell into a deep depression because I love working with adults, but I don't have the emotional intelligence to handle 100 teenagers in a day. And I said, I have to do something else. And this was the time where I stumbled into cybersecurity completely on accident. I was going to go into a data science boot camp and it failed to make. And so I said, well, what am I going to do? I already put in my notice at my teaching job. And they said, well, we're not going to leave you hanging. We have this cybersecurity boot camp starting up. And then once that's done, we can give you the data science boot camp for free on the back end. And I said, fine, I'll do this cybersecurity thing just to keep myself busy in the meantime. Studied networking, got my Network Plus in 3.5 weeks, and then went into the program, guns blazing. Eventually got my CEH, did a whole bunch of projects, and a lot of the things that I now recommend to help you get a job. And then I set the school record at initial starting compensation, total comp of $100,000 a year, 90K base. And this was in 2019. So that would be like 200,000 in today's dollars. Not really, it's a joke, but inflation is pretty crazy right now. Um, and that gave me an opportunity to support my family in a way that I never thought I could have. Because shortly before I got that job offer, I remember looking at our budget and looking at the reality of our finances and ugly crying on my wife's shoulder, saying, nobody's going to pay me $100,000 a year because I'm not worth anything. Because I was looking at it from the situation of, I need to be able to produce the company $100,000 of revenue, when in reality, that's not the case at all. You're not worth your salary because of what you can make directly. If that was the case, everybody would work for themselves. It's because you're part of a greater system. And being a contributing part of that system makes you worth many times more than the salary that they're paying you. Fast forward to today, and this is me and my boys, and things aren't perfect, but they're certainly better than they were. And because of the opportunities that I've had available to me in cybersecurity, I will never, ever again have to settle for sleeping on a mattress on the floor. Cybersecurity changed my life, and that's what I want for you. So let's go ahead and get into some of the actual meat and potatoes of cybersecurity. So cybersecurity is a unique industry for a lot of reasons, including increasing demand. So even if I hadn't told you this, you'd probably know that there's a variety of threats, and the fact that everybody seems to be getting hacked and it's all over the news all the time. We have different types of data that get compromised, from personally identifiable information (PII) to authentication credentials, and payment card data, just to name a few. And the cost of data breaches is so unbelievably high and continues to go up all the time, as well as the number of cyber attacks that we are seeing. It's just an incredibly profitable industry for people all over the world, and there's no shortage of availability because A lot of companies are still struggling with remediating vulnerabilities that are a decade old just because they're either unaware of it, or they think that it's not going to happen to them. So, in addition to that, we have board members are also starting to recognize, you know what, this is a place we should be investing more money in, because, as we were saying, cybercrime is continuing to skyrocket and is expected to continue into the near future. So, we have a lot of facets of the cybersecurity industry. It's not just banking, but it's pretty much everybody with an internet connection, including financing, banking, healthcare, government, manufacturing, and so on and so forth. And retail, Target, Home Depot, anybody. Um, so, what about you? Because that's the real reason why we're here. We're not here for me, we're here for you. Um, Brass tacks, this industry pays just an unbelievable amount of money, and it's easy to see why. Because it's so incredibly expensive to have a data breach, not only in raw cost, but in the hit to your reputation, right? Um, so we have skills that are in demand and continuing to increase in demand. But in addition to that, we have continual learning, which is the thing that makes this so much fun to do, is that it's not just a static job. It's not the same every day. And it's the fact that it's always different, but it relies on your base skills, that these are the things that help to keep it engaging, and help people fall in love with the industry and stay in love with it for a long time, right? It's not everybody who burns out, but usually the people who burn out are involved in organizations that don't care much for their employees. And in a world where you've got an incredible amount of demand, you have options of where you want to work, especially once you have experience. Not only that, but you have an opportunity to make an incredibly meaningful impact, because it's so incredibly important to make sure that your company doesn't go under as a result of suffering a data breach. So, how do we know that this is real? We've got real world examples and case studies. Uh, I mean, like we discussed earlier, Target, we had WannaCry, Equifax, SolarWinds, Stuxnet. The list goes on and on. This is a very abbreviated list of major cyber attacks that have happened in the recent past. So, uh, when it comes to industry experts and professionals, um, it's something that it applies to organizations of like all sizes, because everybody needs somebody who knows what they're doing in order to secure an infrastructure, but it doesn't always necessarily mean that everybody there needs to be the top dog in the organization. There are plenty of subject matter experts you can talk to who will tell you that they can take somebody with a base level of understanding and turn them into something great. Facts and figures, that the global cybersecurity market is projected to be worth 281.74 billion by 2027, which is really unsurprising. And then Cybersecurity Ventures predicts that cybercrime will cost 10.5 trillion annually by 2025. It's also not surprising. So, one of the biggest things when it comes to people considering starting a career in cybersecurity is they think they can't do it. This is for the smart people, this is for the hackers and for the coders. Let's go ahead and identify some of those and break down what some of those are, and reasons why we like maybe should or maybe shouldn't uh, pay heed to those. So, fear of failure or lack of confidence. These are things that you're never going to get over that unless you try. But I would say that there are incredibly regular people, much as myself. You know, I'm a failed software developer who made an incredible cybersecurity professional in my time when I was active in the industry, both as a network security and as a cybersecurity engineer. So I would say that it's not about being the smartest person in the room, but the more that you can limit the things, the bad things on this list, the better, the better off you're going to be. And that's true of really anything that you want to undertake as a new venture, right? But we build confidence through a series of small steps that helps you to build momentum. You don't start with mastery; you obtain mastery over time. You receive feedback from people who you trust. You challenge yourself and allow others to challenge you, and you get hooked into a good community. Um, Embracing a growth mindset. that everybody starts as a beginner, no matter who you are. None of us came out of the womb learning how to code, no matter how good somebody is. And so you have to be open to feedback and being open to trying things and being wrong, because eventually you will be right. And then eventually you'll be more right than you are wrong. Then you'll be far more right than you are wrong. And then you'll be able to teach others. And then if that's the world that you want to go into, and then boom, you're in a senior position and you're set for life. So um, debunking myths and misconceptions. I almost wanted to put those together as myth conceptions, but I didn't. Probably for the better. So, common misconceptions about cybersecurity careers is that professionals are just hackers. This could actually not be further from the truth. While we all know something about hacking in some degree or another, most of the jobs are defensive, not offensive. The offensive jobs, the hacking jobs, the ethical hacker jobs are actually a minority of the industry, which makes sense when you think about it, because companies need to pen test once a year and they need defense every week of the year. So it would make sense that there are far more defensive jobs than offensive jobs. Cybersecurity is all technical. While there's a technical component of just about everything in cybersecurity, there are a lot of things such as report writing and technical writing that are incredibly important, which also parlay into communication, which we'll get into in a minute. Cybersecurity is only for people with computer science degrees. If you have a computer science degree, it's a great foundation, but you don't need one. Flat out. I don't have one. Most of my students don't have one. Some of them do, but um, you don't need a computer science degree to be successful in cybersecurity. Can it help? Yes, but it's absolutely not a requirement. You don't need any degree at all. You don't need a cybersecurity degree. Um, you don't need a bachelor's degree or an associate's degree or a master's degree. You don't need any kind of degree because we have certifications. Uh, and cybersecurity is not a creative field. You need to be creative in this industry, and you need to be able to come up with creative solutions because that's what they're paying you for. They're not paying you for your expertise, they're paying you for your ability to think and look at a system and go in and figure it out. More myth conceptions. Sorry. Cybersecurity is a solitary career. You actually spend a lot of time working with other people, but it's not like all the time. Like it's a few minutes to a few hours a day on average. Um, cybersecurity is only important for large organizations. This could not be further from the truth. If you look at the Verizon Data Breach Investigation Report, the DBIR that they publish every year, you'll see small to medium businesses are consistently the largest targets. And that cybersecurity is all about preventing attacks. Not necessarily, that's most of it, but that's not all of it, because we do have the red team side of things. Um, So let's go ahead and get into some popular beliefs. Cybersecurity is not just about technology, because it's not. It's a lot to do with how you're implementing the technology as much as it is the technology itself. Cybersecurity is not a one and done solution. It is a journey, not a destination. Cybersecurity threats are not always from an outside source. Internal threat actors are a huge consideration in the world of cybersecurity. And it's not just an IT issue, it's an everybody issue, because your end users are going to be one of your biggest points of weakness in any organization. Computers can be perfectly secure until you throw people in, and people are part of every organization, whether you like it or not. Cybersecurity is not just for large organizations, like we discussed earlier, small to medium businesses, and that's actually where most of our students end up getting jobs. Is not at the Fortune 100 companies, but it's at the small to medium businesses. Um, Cybersecurity is not just about compliance; it's a lot about the defensive side of things. However, compliance can parlay in, or does often parlay into, having a good defensive posture, and it's not foolproof, because there's always an opportunity, even if you do everything right, to still come up short, which is part of the reason why we still have so much demand, because it's not just a one and done. Check all your boxes and you're good to go. You always need somebody evaluating your environment to see what can be improved. So. Challenging stereotypes. We want to encourage diversity. We want to highlight role models. We want to address unconscious bias. And we want to foster a culture of inclusion, which is absolutely the way that the cybersecurity industry is going, and rightfully so. We in this industry care about one thing and one thing only, and that's if you can do the job. And if you can do the job, your race or sexual orientation makes no difference. Um, Promoting work-life balance. A lot of cybersecurity jobs actually have great work-life balance. Not all of them. Some of them are incredibly stressful. Go work incident response, and you will never say that. But most of these jobs tend to do pretty well. You might need to be on call and be able to respond to major events, but you shouldn't be having major events all the time if you're doing your job right. Um, and showcasing the impact of cybersecurity like in an organization because it's important. So the perfect time to start is right now because this is the moment where we have this incredible demand in this industry and companies that are willing. Why would you want to put that off? Like, if you already have a great career, by all means, like, go do your thing. Like, I'm not saying you have to have a cybersecurity career to be happy, not at all. But if you're somebody who's not satisfied with where you are in your life, the time to take action is now. Like most of you watching this have seen me and heard me talk about this for months or even years. How long are you going to put this off until you realize that now is the time for you to go in and finally change your life? So let's go ahead and talk about current industry trends and projections. Lots of new and up and coming technologies that are going to change the way that we evaluate security for organizations, including cloud security, ZTA, zero trust architecture, um, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and Internet of Things. Not to mention the fact that we have a huge talent shortage with increasing regulations, and cybersecurity insurance is getting harder and harder to come by for those two reasons, which is increasing demand even further because we're quickly shrinking. Our days are limited for an organization to say, "Oh, well, I'll just be able to get cyber insurance and call it a day," because it's getting harder and harder to come by because these insurance companies are starting to lose money. Um, it's one of my favorite memes. The urgency of addressing cybersecurity challenges. So, we want to be protecting sensitive data and while ensuring business continuity and mitigating threats, while making sure we're maintaining compliance and protecting our critical infrastructure, which sounds great in theory, but is an incredibly arduous task and one that requires a full time position and often several full time professionals. So we have the evolving landscape of digital threats, similar to what we were discussing before, but this isn't just in the architecture. This is in the way that those are exploited. We were talking ransomware, phishing, insider threats, APTs, IoT threats, and supply chain attacks. And that's not even everything. So trusting the process. Um, Here with BowTiedCyber and what we built over the last 2 years, we pride ourselves on our commitment to excellence and making sure that you get everything that you need to the very best of our abilities, which is why our students love it so much. So it's verifying sources, staying up to date, using best practices, seeking expert advice, and testing solutions. Um, Leveraging reputable sources and industry experts. Um, and taking a look at what we have from the number of testimonials that we have, like it's absolutely unbelievable. Just recently, now that I've launched my LinkedIn page for the company, you can actually see their student reviews that are actually on LinkedIn, just in case you happen to want to see something more than this incredible wealth of positive reviews that I've had from DMs and folks in my Discord who have gone through the process and done everything that I told them to do, and absolutely crushed it in their life, from everything from certifications and exams to uh, landing jobs and really completely changing their lives. Um, so how does this process work? So it's understanding the cybersecurity ecosystem of the threat landscape, security technologies, uh, like working with professionals, regulations and compliance, risk management, third party vendors. These are all key elements of the industry to consider when crafting a program, as well as key competencies and skills, including technical and analytical skills, along with problem solving and communication. All of that's critical to being a well rounded cybersecurity professional, as well as business acumen and ethics. So, The role of certification and degrees. So, like, I love this meme. This is one of my favorites too. So, like most cybersecurity programs have outdated certifications. It's just not built on a good system, right? We do something that's better. That we take exactly what's working in the industry right now, and that's what we're bringing to you. So, we want to make sure that you can demonstrate knowledge and expertise while meeting job requirements, help you keep up with industry standards and career advancement. So, to get started on your cybersecurity career, you need to acquire technical experience, technical skills, practical experience, network with the right people, develop communication skills, and know how to stay up to date with trends. So, when it, when it comes to networking and mentorship opportunities, these are some things that you can do. It's more so helpful when when you're already a seasoned professional, but it can help if you attend events in some capacity, participating in certificate training programs and volunteer, especially if you can get in on an open source coding project, which we actually have one. It's not listed here in the slides. Um, you can DM me on Twitter at BowTiedCyber if you want to get in on the Hubbard Telescope project. It's a co-founded project with myself and my friend Travis Hubbard, where we're creating an open source SaaS to help people find the most in-demand skills for the job market in their area. It's based on a web scraper that's going to do some data analytics and present it on the front end. Really, really neat stuff. I'm very excited about this project. You can also see more about that on my LinkedIn, linkedin.com/in/cyber-evan. So, job searching strategies and resources. So, we've got all kinds of different websites, recruiters you can talk to, as well as internships and apprenticeships. Don't tend to recommend those, but in some niche instances, they can be good. Um, so, what do you have to lose? So let's talk about the risk and rewards. So when it comes to the risks of a cybersecurity career, you have constantly evolving threats. It can be high stress at times, and it does require ongoing learning. This is not a one and done type of career, but you can secure a bag and you can make a lot of money doing meaningful work. Average starting salary in the US among my students is about $80,000 a year. I've had, gosh, five, six, seven students, something like that, at or above $100,000 a year. And the number is going to continue to increase as we get more and more students who go through these various programs. So the opportunity costs of not doing something to help you start your career, um, what's the cost of doing this? Well, you have to do some kind of training and education, whether you do self-study, whether you do a boot camp, um, career advancement and opportunities. That every day you don't get started on this process is another day that you're missing out on potential opportunities that if you had started today. um, but it's something that if you're going to go in and commit to changing your life, that there has to be a moment where you say, this is it. Now is the time. Today is the day. And if I've done my job right, then today is that day for you. So hopefully you've learned something through this webinar to help you decide if cybersecurity is the industry for you. And I want to show you the very best way to do that. Can I do that? Can I get this permission to show you what it is that I have to offer? Because I really do think that this can change your life. This is the Zero to Hoodie Cybersecurity Bootcamp. This has everything that you need to go from zero to an employed cybersecurity professional in 16 weeks, fully loaded with everything that I wish that I knew, start to finish, backed by the data and the process of having helped students start their careers for the past 2 years. You know how many students we've helped start their careers all over the world? 75, and they're making a combined $5.1 million every single year. So starting We have our world-class learning management system. And this thing is absolutely spotless. Comes with uh, lectures, quizzes, notes, flashcards, projects, and everything else that you could possibly imagine that you need to not only crush your exams, but to go out and learn all of the material that you need for everything that I wish that I had when I was going through my program. You get your very own student success advisor because it's not enough for me to just throw you a bunch of material and say, have fun. We have somebody who will check in on you every week, should you want it, by whatever medium of choice you want to be checked in on. This is Eliza, and she is so passionate about helping our students succeed. Like, you should see our messages back and forth every time somebody gets a job. She is just elated because she loves this just as much as I do. This is why she is my right hand person in this organization. We would not be able to do what we do and be able to provide the level of care that you need to make sure that you're getting it right as you need it, as if we didn't have Eliza. So it's not enough to say that we're going to give you the opportunity to tell us if you need something. We're going to actively check in on you as much as we can to ensure that even if you don't want to reach out to us, that we're reaching out to you and giving you the opportunity to say, this is what I need so that we can help meet you wherever you're at, whatever it is. So this is to help you set and achieve your goals, so that you can remain accountable, and to give you support and to celebrate your wins. Like, it's so important. Like, we want to come alongside you in the good and the bad times. And when you do have those milestones that you pass, we want to be able to be there for you to celebrate those with you. And we'll also find you a hoodie buddy. Is a name that she came up with, and I love the alliteration. That the purpose of the hoodie buddy is to uh, give you somebody that you can work with directly who's a good fit for you in the cohort, not just somebody that we randomly assign you. Um, in this cohort, for the first time since cohort 0, we're doing 2 time a week live lectures to where we'll go even deeper into the material outside of what's already in the posted recordings. This is going to be a huge benefit for everybody. This is going to happen every Tuesday and Thursday from 9 to 10 p.m. Eastern. That way, it can give an opportunity for our friends on the East Coast to attend these live lectures as well. So we've got our learning management system. We've got the 2 time a week live lectures. We've got Eliza, Director of Student Success. They've got your 16 weeks of world-class cybersecurity training. I mean, it really is like just the best in the industry for everything that you could possibly imagine. I mean, we're talking network plus security plus AZ900, Splunk Core, Linux, Python, traffic analysis, hacking, cloud security, and even more than that. I mean, this program is just so jam-packed with value. We put this value with what we have listed at $47,000. And you might say, come on, there's no way. Like, I can get like a year of college for that. Yeah. Isn't that sad that $47,000 only gives you 1 year of college? Even if you had 4 years of college or 5 years of college or 6 years of college, you still wouldn't be able to make as much money as if you had spent 47,000 on this program. But we're not charging you 47,000. We're charging you 8,000 for this program. 20% of the price of a year of college for this program for everything that we've shown you. Is that not the opportunity of a lifetime? Oh, but there's more. We haven't even hit everything yet. You're going to get direct mentorship from myself and other tech professionals should we bring somebody on during this cohort. And I cannot stress this enough. Whether you're going to college or whether you're going to another boot camp or whether you're doing self study, you're not going to get this level of care, not only from an industry professional, but from somebody who's been doing this exclusively for the past 2 years to help others get jobs. You're not going to get that anywhere else. This is, for this reason specifically, far and away what makes this the best program on planet Earth. And I'm not ashamed to say that. You get 1v1 mentorship, custom roadmaps. In addition to that, you get resume and portfolio reviews. Essentially, I'm going to work with you to give you everything that you need to make and meet and exceed your goals based on wherever it is that you are in your life. If you're new to the industry, if you're an existing professional, if you're looking to switch careers, I can help you no matter who you are, no matter where you're at in your life. We also give you some additional materials for the exams. We give you access to BOSIN labs for 12 months and all-in-one study guides, just pretty much things that we've looked at and said, these are the study materials that perfectly complement what it is that we've made to help potentially fill in the gaps and give you some good hands-on learning, not only for the exams, but for the purpose of properly learning the material to go be a successful professional in the industry. Um, you get access to the Cohort Discord server that you'll be able to keep forever, access to the general cybersecurity Discord server, and you'll also get a custom hoodie, which these actually aren't for sale anywhere else right now. Um, these are so cool. Like everything here is custom made. You won't be able to find this anywhere else, not legally anyway. If somebody's maybe stealing my designs, then maybe you could. But legally, this is the only way you could purchase that. And just in case this wasn't enough, just in case having the best program on planet Earth wasn't enough, we're including in a year of Bootcamp Lite free with 12 months of access to all of the content in our learning management system, as well as access to the live weekly Q&As and the Bootcamp Lite Discord server, just in case life happens and you're not able to take full advantage of the program in that 16 weeks. How cool is that? Like, it's Murphy insurance. It's beautiful. So we value this at $55,800. And you know what? It should be that price. Because what are you getting with a college degree that costs 4 times this much? The opportunity to go and make $60,000 a year after 4 years. If you had spent $55,000 on my boot camp and got a job making $100,000 a year, and then in 2 years moved jobs and was now making 150, how much better off would you be than if you had spent that time and money going into debt so you could go to school for 4 or 5, 6 years, because nobody gets it done in 4, just so you could be $200,000 in debt and then go make $60,000 a year? It's a no-brainer. This is why I'm such a strong advocate for what it is that I'm doing and what it is that I'm providing for you guys, because it just doesn't make sense for 90% of people to go to college. Don't make the same mistakes that I did. Don't go into debt to go to a university. The only debt on education that was ever worth it for me was the cybersecurity bootcamp. That, if I recall, I think I paid $17,000 for in 2019, and I would have easily paid double that because it changed my life, unlike anything else that I had ever done. But of course, it's not $55,000. This is an $8,000 program, and it should be $55,000, but it's not. So don't be surprised if this price continues to increase over time, because it is criminally undervalued for where it is for what you're getting. So here's a little breakdown of what it is that we offer for all of our different products. So we've got the free Substack, where you get some resources and some roadmaps. The paid Substack, which gives you a lot of simplified written tutorials. And then, of course, the bootcamp just absolutely blows everything else out of the water, right? Which makes sense, because you're getting more of my time. And that is my most valuable resource. And that's going to be the thing that's going to help you more than anything else when it comes to starting your cybersecurity career, is that guidance and mentorship from somebody who has helped more people uniquely start careers in tech than just about anybody that I know in the space. Cohort 7 starts 10:30, and you can get your seats at BowTiedCyber.com. I will have a link in the description if you're watching this on YouTube or if you're watching it on X. And even if you can't afford 8,000 cash, then we offer financing through TFC. Tuition is one of the largest, if not the largest, private tuition financiers in the US. PCI compliant, fully authorized for handling financial transactions, which is why I work with them specifically. I went through quite a vetting process for those guys to ensure that they were going to be the right partner for me, and I've been partnered with them for about 6 months now, and they've been awesome. My students love them. It's a clean platform. It's easy to use. Automatic deductions come right out of your bank account. You can get full information on financing at my website at BowTiedCyber.com at the shop. So now what I want to do is I want to spend some time doing some questions and answers. So you guys had submitted some questions to questions at bowtiedcyber.com. If you got that email the other day from me from my Substack, you guys had some really good questions. So let's go ahead and get into those. So, what are the cost of the certifications? So, I don't include the cost of the exam vouchers, and that's for one reason, because not everybody needs all of those exams. Not everybody needs Net Plus and Sec Plus and AZ900 and Splunk Core. Maybe you would rather get Linux Plus than you would getting AZ900 and Splunk Core. Maybe you would rather not do Network Plus or have to pay for that exam voucher as part of the program because you already have your Network Plus coming into the program. So for that reason, instead of increasing the price by $1,000 or $2,000 so that you can pay me so that I can go pay CompTIA on your behalf, instead I just keep the price lowered by 1 or 2,000 and allow you to buy the certifications, the vouchers for yourself as you see fit. In general, though, it's close to $400 for both Network Plus and Security Plus. A little under if you're a student with a student email. You can get that half off at the CompTIA Academic Store. The AZ900 is $99, and the Splunk Core voucher is $130. So I would say with that, if you think this program is something that you're ready to take on, then go ahead and head on over to BowTiedCyber.com and get your seats now while they're still available before our cohorts fill up. What are some common first jobs? This is a great question. So a lot of this comes down to my job hunting methodology, and with that job hunting methodology, uh, we say that you should acquire your base of skills and then apply to everything. So, um, with that, you could end up landing in a variety of places. You could become a network engineer, you could become a junior sysadmin, you could become a junior developer because we learned some Python in there, all of which I've seen my students get. Or you could get the more traditional cybersecurity roles where you could become a cybersecurity analyst or an IT security analyst or a network security engineer, all of which are also roles that my students have acquired, as well as some DevOps roles as well. When it comes to specific job titles, though, it's hard to say because two companies could have the exact same job, but then call them two completely different things because so many of these skills overlap. So I would say don't worry so much about job title and focus more on what you need to get the job. And the best way to get a job is with the Zero to Hoodie Cybersecurity Bootcamp. So you should head on over to bowtiedcyber.com and pick up your seats. What do I think about Western Governors University? This is far and away, if you're going to go to a university, unless you're going on a full ride scholarship or going to something like an Ivy League school where your connections themselves are unlike anything else that you're going to get in the world. Short of those things, Western Governors University is the only university that I recommend, and for good reason, because most universities are not good when it comes to their content, um, or how they prepare you for the workplace, right? We have university students who are graduating with master's degrees in cybersecurity and they don't know what DHCP is. Like, this is a huge problem. So, why do I recommend WGU if you're going to go to a university? Is because they're certification based and they also cover the cost of their certifications as part of a nonprofit school, which is really cool. However, I don't love it for a couple of reasons. One, if you're a working professional, you're not going to qualify for Pell Grants. So you're still paying for the entire cost of the program, even though they're covering the cost of certifications. And if you're a working professional, you're probably not getting the whole thing done in 6 months, in which case you're probably not getting the university to pay for your entire cost of certifications. Instead, you're having to like take multiple semesters and now you're just getting an expensive training program for these certifications, but you're also lacking the hands-on skills that you need to really be a successful professional. And I say that because I've worked with some people directly who graduated from WGU. Some of them do really well and some of them have a hard time finding work because they don't have any of those hard skills. In addition to that, you have to do everything in their program starting with A plus, which I think you should skip over. I think you should skip over the CompTIA A plus and go straight into the CompTIA Network Plus. They require you to start with A plus, and so for that reason, if you're somebody who has an opportunity to go to WGU and go there for free, like say you get Pell Grants, then it can absolutely be worth it. If you're a working professional who wouldn't apply for that, or you're somebody who values your time, if you're somebody who wants to get a job sooner rather than later, there is no better opportunity than the Zero to Hoodie Cybersecurity Bootcamp, and you should sign up for that at BowTiedCyber.com. Is the market oversaturated? In a word, no. In more words, absolutely no. Like, we have so many open jobs in this industry that you guys saw from earlier on in the slides, that we have uh, about 200,000 unfilled jobs for registered nurses in the US today. We have about 750,000 unfilled cybersecurity jobs in the United States of America. That's almost four times the demand of nursing for unfilled positions. Like, there's more total registered nursing jobs, but there's more unfilled cybersecurity jobs. Like, it's insane. This is why you can go to a cybersecurity boot camp, learn from somebody who really knows what they're doing, and get a job. It's beautiful. It's great. Um, Day in the life of a cybersecurity professional. What does that look like? So I would say it very much depends on your organization, but there are some common themes. Um, One is responding to a security incident or event. That if something happens, that no matter who you are, if you're working GRC or if you're working in a SOC, and there's a website that you have that gets popped, it's all hands on deck. That's going to be your primary focus. But there's going to be a lot of working with people working up and down the chain of command, whether you're going like up to your boss or going out to talk to the end user to communicate what it is that's happening. But I would say the common thread across all of these domains, for cybersecurity, is that it's all meaningful and it's all fun and it's all engaging. Like, having worked in a variety of cybersecurity jobs, um, it's a really incredible place to be. So long as like you realize that this is the place that you want to be, you're not just gonna like wake up one day in a normal environment and say, I can't believe that I made this choice to start this industry, because it's a beautiful place to be. I love it. My students love it. And routinely, and I follow up with my students all the time. It's like, how's the job doing? Like, how are you feeling? Like, how do you feel like you were prepared for this? And they always say, like, oh my gosh, like, Evan, I love it so much. Like, it's great. Like, it's challenging and it's fun, but like, I'm working with really great people and I'm learning so much. And it's like, this is what I want. Like, this is why I do it. Why I do what I do, because I see the impact that it has. Not only that you're making more money, but that you're really truly being fulfilled in the work that you're doing. It's so incredibly important. Um, So if you want that in your professional life, then head on over to BowTiedCyber.com and get your seats while they're still available. And then the last question that we have is, what do I think about the Certified Ethical Hacker exam? This is a certification that I hold. I classify it as an HR cert. I don't think you actually learn a lot of valuable information studying for the CEH, but I think it's something that HR thinks looks really good. So I would say if you want to get a maximum payout on your first cybersecurity job, it can be a great ticket in to show somebody that you have a basic understanding of hacking, but certainly is a far cry from being an actual hacker. If your goal is to become a pen tester, a penetration tester, then you should study for your OSCP. Before you do that, you need the fundamental foundations in networking, security, Linux, Python, and traffic analysis. The very best place to get that, you already know, is at the Zero to Hoodie Cybersecurity Bootcamp. Cohort 7 starts October 30th, Monday. We have a few seats left. I'm excited for what this cohort is going to bring, and I can't wait to see you there. If you want to get your seat or apply for financing, you can do so at BowTiedCyber.com. I'm going to go ahead and get some water while this timer goes, and we will talk soon. Cheers.